Welcome to That's Camellia podcast. Hey, we're going to unpack some of those questions that you have. We're going to interview some guests and let's have a conversation. Come on, enjoy the show. Welcome back to That's Camellia podcast. So, That's Camellia podcast is all about encouraging, inspiring you to hope beyond what you see. Living a life that's full of love, joy, and finding your purpose and doing that purpose. So today I wanted to just chat about something that I think we have all experienced at one time or another. Some of us experience it more than others. And that's that moment when someone says to you, take your own advice. And sometimes they say it in a way that kind of sets you back. Like, take your own advice, Camellia. I don't know what you're talking about. Now, let's be honest. It's usually delivered with some type of, playful grin, but or they try to play it off like I'm just playing. No, no, they're not just playing. They mean it. They mean for you to take your own advice. But sometimes it stings, right? It just hurts a little because you got to give them that side eye, like, that side eye that you give people, like, I know you didn't. So I am a certified life coach and I give wisdom out like it's candy. As I get it, as I learn it, as I experience it, I liken it to a ripple effect, like throwing a rock in a clear crystal lake and it just causes this ripple. Well, that's how I am with life. If I learn something, I am open to share it and I want to share it. Because I want I don't want you to have to go through what I went through to get the wisdom. So I want to share it. So when we're giving advice to our friends, family, even strangers in a grocery store, how we live our best lives. So I'm all about that self-love and following my dreams, and I want others to do the same, embracing that inner person of who you are, right? But then life kind of lifes and it throws us a curveball, and sometimes it makes us pivot when we don't want to pivot. It makes us course correct when we don't know or recognize we need to course correct. Even procrastination on your major project, or procrastination on that dream that you've been saying you wanted to accomplish, that dream that you put on your vision board in January of this year. You procrastinating about it. So I encourage people to make sure don't procrastinate. That's one of my life coaching packages. Don't procrastinate. Just do it. The quickest way out of procrastination is action, right? Action. So I encourage others to do the same. But let me tell you, if we're talking about taking your own advice, so maybe there are times that there are plenty of times that I've had to deal with that elephant in the room of procrastination and have to take my own advice that I tell others. It's just a quick action, Camellia. Just do it. Do it before you talk yourself out of it. And maybe it's self-doubt. Oh my gosh, that inner self-doubt. We all deal with that. Even though I constantly remind people that negative self-talk is not good for our mental. But guess what? It's intentional and consistent actions that we have to replay in our mind and to cast out that negative self-doubt. If something negative comes out of what you're thinking about yourself, you have to think something positive and say it with your mouth. And then you have to believe it. And you have to keep doing it. Think about it. There's that familiar phrase that goes on in our heads, take your own advice. And you know what? That voice is right. And it's a humbling experience, right? When you have this powerful opportunity, it's an opportunity for growth, right? Because let's face it, the best teachers are often the ones that we are still learning ourselves, that we are still processing, that we're still going through. So it's humbling, but yet it's a good reminder to take the take your own advice that you are giving out, because it's good advice. That's why you're giving it out. Think about it this way. When you and your girlfriends just talking, you know how we get. We get our little sessions where we have our jam sessions and we're just talking, we're just giving out advice, sharing wisdom, sharing life, doing life with one another. And you start talking about, what you ought to do, or you know what I've done. When we share our insights and our experience with the hope of helping other people, we are faced with that same task when it comes to us, when we need that same advice. So we have to take our own advice. Consider it a take your own advice moment. So don't get discouraged. And instead, I think I want to look at it as a reminder of the practice of what we preach. Practice what you preach, remember? it's it's a it's an opportunity that we get to share wisdom with the world and ourselves, because we are important. So, maybe you need to schedule some time to just encourage yourself. Maybe it's a fear. Give your fear a name, whatever it is. I want you to be able to take your own advice. Think about the things that you have already said, all the things that you have already overcome. And I want you to simply show yourself some grace and some compassion, just as you would a dear friend. Sometimes we are so quick to give grace and compassion to others, but it takes us a while to give that same grace and compassion to ourselves. I have to remind myself of that. Take your own advice. When I can't get something right, or it seems like, man, I'm going around this mountain too many times, I have to give myself some grace, give myself some compassion. So remember, this is a personal growth. It's a journey. It's not a destination. This is a journey. We're going to be going down this journey throughout our lives, because our lives change. The episodes in our lives change. Where we are, who we are, what we look like, it changes as we get older. We're all works in progress. So sometimes the greatest lessons come from moments where we're reminded to practice what we preach, to take our own advice. So the next time you have that little whisper in your mind that says, take your own advice, acknowledge it as truth, right? Because it is truth. And it's an opportunity for you to grow. Take your own advice. It might sting at first, but hey, it's wisdom. You know, I would love to hear from you. Have you ever been on the receiving end of that phrase, take your own advice? How did it make you feel? How did you use that moment as a catalyst for growth? How did you use it to grow? I would love for you to share your comments below. Tell me what those were. I can't wait to hear from you about what you thought about take your own advice. I'll end with I was telling my husband about an opportunity that I was thinking about with this whole menopause thing. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. And the symptoms change. It's so crazy how menopause, you just go up and down, up and down. I'm telling you. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I got this whole hot flash, night sweat thing taken care of. And man, now it just seems like I'm thinking about the other symptoms that I'm watching or just looking at as I grow through this whole episode. And that's the hair thinning, the the mindfulness of weight gain. And my husband, I was just kind of going through this whole rant of, the season. Oh, what do I got to do now? Or what I got to think about now? What kind of process is this? What symptom, what pill do I need to take? What doctor did I need to see, right? And my husband just, in his true form, said, Camellia, you got to take your own advice. And I gave him that side eye at first, y'all. I was like, what? And he was like, I'm just saying. But then I sat with that, just like I'm telling you to sit with that. It's like, yeah, that's true. I have to take my own advice. Because when you're going through a different journey than anyone else, sometimes you think that you're alone, and you're not alone. You're not alone. There's millions of women who are going through menopause who, if they're not having hot flashes, they have weight gain. If they're not having weight gain, they have hair thinning. If they don't have hair thinning, they have, night sweats, whatever it is, but you're not alone. So I challenge you to take your own advice. And if you don't have any, if you're going down a road where you haven't experienced it, or your inner circle hasn't experienced it, I would encourage you to get some help. Seek a medical professional. There's so many different resources online, but I first want to encourage you that you are not alone, and to give yourself some grace and compassion, because you are worth it. And remember, it's just a season where you might have to pivot, a season where you might have to course correct. All right. Let me know your story. All right. That's all we have for today. Join me next time on That's Camellia podcast, where we're going to continue our conversations. Make it a great day.